So we have a great video here from More Perfect Union. We're going to go inside the Amazon Labor Union's second election in a warehouse directly next to the one that just voted to unionize. So the question here is, are they going to win? Well, maybe we'll get a little bit of insight to that question in this video. Take a look.
Guys gonna win, you think?
Yes, I hope so. I think, according to like phone banking data we have, it's looking good. But the thing is, like, the amount of resources that they put into JFK 8, they just swiveled it over to our building, and we are 1/7 of the size. So we're getting hit with just as many union busters, but it's like a 1 to 15 person ratio. They just bred this climate of fear where it's like the people are genuinely afraid to talk to us in the building because they don't want to get fired.
Are they still doing a lot of big captive audience meetings?
Yeah, so usually they're like 20 people, but the past week what they've been doing is they've stopped production for the last hour of each shift to bring every single person, 500 people on the shift, into this meeting where the general manager and like the vice president of HR for all of Amazon comes and begs people basically to vote no. Like never in the history of Amazon have they ever stopped production to pull people for an all hands on deck meeting.
I was working on lane 2 and they pulled like a number of, they're called splitters. They're the people who take the boxes off the conveyor belt and split them into different sections. They pulled probably like 5 of them off of the lane to go take them to a union busting meeting, and it caused a huge pile of boxes. There was another person who was trying to get boxes off the conveyor belt, and it had piled up all the way around his head so that he was trapped next to the conveyor belt, and I had to literally unbury him out of these boxes. And that's because they're pulling people into union busting meetings. So I mean, they're literally creating safety hazards in order to try to get us to vote no.
The union busting has gotten worse ever since JFK won.
I think the tactics show a level of desperation, and I think workers see that too, and I think it's backfiring. It happened in JFK also. They started to get desperate. They started to get aggressive. They arrested Chris and Brett and Jason.
I've had the same 2 managers tailing me no matter what lane I'm in, no matter what section of the warehouse I'm in for the past 2 days. I've tried to move to get out of their way. They come and find me. They go, oh, do you need some help here? It's like, no, I don't need help here. We have like 3 other workers that I'm working with right now. But they tail you. They know who the organizers are, so they're making a concerted effort to prevent us from talking to people, and they're also trying to scare the workers so that they're not wearing the lanyards, they're not wearing the shirts, and we can't build momentum as easily.
They're also having the union busters, the outside consultants, disguised as workers. They gave them the blue badges, they hired them on as workers, and they have them on the floor pretending to be workers, talking with the actual workers, telling them to vote no. Meanwhile, these union busters are getting paid $400 an hour.
If I'm going to get hired tomorrow, what's the salary? 1825.
And just for perspective too, like we want a cost of living raise as well, because I mean, I come from Arizona, I'm only making $2 more, and it's 3 times the cost of living.
Right.
We get 25-cent raise every 6 months, and then after 3 years, we don't get a raise. We'd have to go to a higher position. When there ain't enough room to get a higher position, you move up, you should get more pay. If I take another job besides where I began at, if I start teaching people my job, I deserve a raise. Each job you take, you should get extra money for what you do.
They don't accept people's like shift change to become full-time workers. They've like denied me full-time work. There's a lot of favoritism in LDJ5. Like if you're not really like not friends with the managers, you get stuck in the worst lanes.
All the horror stories you heard from JFK, they're true in our building too. And they're true in every Amazon building across the country.
Yep, it works.
So this movement right here, this is just the beginning, like everyone's been saying.
So as you can see, they're pulling out all the stops to try to prevent the momentum from overtaking the new warehouse and the union winning the election. Don't fret. If we don't win the election, it's okay. We live to fight another day, and there will be more victories. Look at what happened with the Amazon workers, the Starbucks workers. They picked off. There was one time where they won like the 6 or 7 elections in a row, and there were 0 votes against the union. So these things take time. Rome wasn't built in a day. If this one doesn't go the right way, it's okay. We're going to regroup. We're going to keep fighting. And what Christian Smalls has showed me is that he's a leader, and he's got the right strategy. He's got the right approach. That's why they were able to win the first election. And you win some, you lose some, but in the long run, we're going to win the war. We might lose some battles, but we're going to win the war. They're pulling out all the stops in this election. I don't know how it's going to go, but hopefully we'll see a similar thing that happened with Starbucks where the heavy-handed tactics backfire. It's very possible. When you're pulling people out early to go to anti-union meetings, when you got fake workers on the floor doing anti-union propaganda, when it's this aggressive, it could cut either direction. It could work because it's too overwhelming, or it could backfire like it has for other companies. So we'll see, but look, this is a new era. John Deere workers, I mean, the list goes on and on. We've covered the various stories where the unions are no longer playing defense, they're now playing offense. And they're doing it out of necessity. And so a very, very welcome moment, but credit here to More Perfect Union for getting, the inside story as to what's going on in this warehouse. And we got a couple big things coming up, man. We got this union election coming up, and I believe by the time this video posts on YouTube, today is the day that you can go vote for Nina Turner. So if you're in her district, go vote for Nina Turner. They're bringing out all the king's horses and all the king's men to defeat her. Now, last time when they did that, it worked, and they defeated her. But district's a little different this time. It's a little more favorable to Nina. She's put in so much work on the ground, but I got to be honest, it's been hard for her in terms of fundraising because there's just a lot of air that came out of the tires of the left base in many respects. But Christian Small should have been the spark again that relit everybody and realized, oh shit, we can actually win some things. And so go vote for Nina if you can. Go vote for Nina. Go vote for Nina. Go vote for Nina because she needs all the support that she can get, and she's a transformational figure where she's also a leader. Not only is she right on the policy, she's a leader. And she might be able to drag some of the other members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus into being better than they are and forming a voting bloc where they can throw their weight around a little bit like the Tea Party used to do on the right. That's all we're asking for. We're asking for real fighters for working people. Real fighters. And in Nina, we have a real fighter, which is why they're doing everything to defeat her, which is why Republican billionaires are donating to Chantel Brown, which is why Joe Biden came out and endorsed Chantel Brown, which is why Pramila Jayapal backstabbed Nina Turner. Pramila Jayapal did that. The Congressional Progressive Caucus did that. She's trying to play the inside game to eventually become speaker, is my guess. So she's trying to appease Pelosi. Guess what? She doesn't like you. She's never going to like you. So you're not going to be speaker. It's going to be Hakeem Jeffries. That's almost certainly who's going to become speaker. But they sold themselves out. They don't really care about the things that they say they care about. But I know Nina Turner does. And Nina Turner knows who her friends and her enemies really are. She knows what the swamp does to people. She's been through the ringer. And so she definitely gets my vote for sure. I mean, I can't vote because I'm not in her district, but you guys absolutely should. Huge moment. And let's keep rolling along here, man, and keep notching some victories because momentum begets more momentum and victories beget more victories. So we'll see what happens. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.